morning. Oh, that was a nice response. I want to talk to you about leadership. It's been really interesting this morning to listen to the speakers. I keep finding points of connection. So I may alter a little bit from my talk as planned because I would like to reference back to what we've been talking about. Let's take a look at some failures in leadership. Any of these ring a bell? Some close to home, right? There is no question that we need a paradigm shift in the way we think about leadership. Not what leadership is, what leaders do. It's what leaders do that matters. Leaders have a tremendous ripple effect. We just heard about a ripple effect, right? We saw that pebble on the pond. You're going to hear more about that in a minute. I really believe that there's no escaping the crisis in leadership in our world today. And this isn't a new problem. This is an old problem. It goes all the way back to Caesar rules, my way or the highway, top down. Things have not changed for centuries. And just like the young gentlemen who were before me, things need to change. And they need to change now. So I have 3 insights around this. I've been working with and observing leaders for decades. And it's fascinating stuff, by the way. And the same kinds of issues come up over and over and over again. Well, why is that? It's because we have this old paradigm that we haven't changed. So let me talk to you about these insights one at a time. Insight number 1. Just like that ripple you saw and like a pebble on a pond, as in nature, a leader's impact spreads outward the boundaries of their influence, and here's the snag, regardless of intent. Whether you're a good guy or a good gal or not, doesn't matter. You're rippling. And Derek and Laura talked about all of those interactions, right? Well, there are a lot of them with leaders, and it's a big deal. I don't have to go back to that first slide, right, to remind you how big a deal it is. And those were just a few examples that we all know about. Let's think about these historical examples. There's Joan of Arc, Martin Luther King Jr., Susan B. Anthony, Adolf Hitler, Mahatma Gandhi. Do you think they rippled through history? They're still with us today. Their impact on millions and millions of people, whether for good or for ill, is still with us today and will be, most likely, for generations to come. These people were all leaders in their own way, in their own time. Right? So, let's get a little closer to home. I'm willing to wager, a lot of money actually, I'm willing to wager that every one of you can remember 2 people for sure. You can remember their faces, their voices, their expressions, and their impact on you. Your very best teacher and your very worst. Is that likely true? It is for me. Mrs. Hunt, 3rd grade. I'm pretty sure she got up every morning trying to figure out how she could make my life miserable. Pretty sure. I mean, she was so good at it. She was so incredibly good at it. And what happened was I would sit down next to little Tony. Tony was a cute little boy. I was 8, he was 8. And he loved to make me laugh. I don't know why, but he loved to make me laugh. And Mrs. Hunt loved to punish me. So, of course, all learning stopped. She actually had a dunce hat. I'm not kidding, it's that long ago. She actually had a dunce hat. I went into the front of the room. She had a piano up in the front of the room. And I sat with my back to the classroom, facing the wall. I know you all feeling bad for me, right? I don't blame you, because I felt bad for me. And I was a miserable little 8-year-old girl in my classroom with Mrs. Hunt. She was my leader. She was the only leader I had. And then I went to 4th grade, and I met Mrs. Outlaw. My parents, fortunately, had pulled me out of that crappy school and put me in another school. And I got Mrs. Outlaw. Now, Mrs. Outlaw opened up the world for me. In fact, I believed I was the smartest, cleverest, greatest little kid that ever was in that classroom. I wanted to learn. I believed in myself. I felt really good. Turns out, so did everybody else in her classroom. Huh? Isn't that what leaders do? Isn't that what leaders do, is bring out the best in people? Good leaders do that. Not so good leaders don't. Insight number 2. Here's a really important breakthrough thinking and paradigm shift that blew my mind when I realized it. Leadership skills are not just different than individual contributor skills, they're opposite. Opposite. Let's think about that for a minute. Why are they opposite? Cute. Cute, right? Cute little girl. Cute. And she's so cute that mommy and daddy clap every time she takes a step. And they clap every time she says a new word. And every time she doesn't spit her food out on the table. They clap and they clap and they clap because it's all about her and her individual achievements. And it's that way for all of us as we're growing up, right? It's our grades, it's our schools, it's our graduation, right? It's our first job. It's our first TEDx. So it's all about me. It's all about me. And that's the way we're brought up. And by the way, that's where we get all our rewards. And then suddenly, we're tapped on the shoulder, and we're anointed, we're appointed, we're promoted into a leadership role. We have more status maybe more money, maybe more power, maybe more influence, who knows? And we're expected now to be successful, not about what I do, but about what we do together. The skill sets and the rewards and the success are opposite. So it's no wonder that too many leaders are failing. We've used this paradigm for thousands of years, and it's not working, and it's not going to work. We need to change it. We need to think differently about leadership. What's really true is that at least 1 in 3 employees who are employed today in the United States are looking for other jobs because they are unhappy where they are. What's really true, there are lots of people like that are not happy at work. You know people like that. You might be one of those people. Chances are you are 35 to 55%, depending on which survey you read in Forbes, Manpower, wherever. There are just loads of research reports and surveys out there that will tell you at least a third and as many as half of the employees in our country today would list themselves as somewhat to very dissatisfied at work. And 8 of 10 of the reasons why are what, do you guess? Led to leadership, one way or another. Right? It's either lack of faith in management, a boss doesn't value me, I don't feel like my voice is heard. There's just a lot going on. It's not that nothing good is going on, but there's a lot we better pay attention to because it's driven right back to the quality of our leadership. And this isn't because people are bad people. It's because they haven't learned the skills. Insight number 3. They haven't learned the skills. Leadership is a discipline. It isn't falling off the turnip truck tomorrow and saying, yeah, I can do it. It just isn't. So what happens is we take a star player and think that star player instantly can become a star coach just because they're good at what they do. You know this is true Because every single person I've ever talked to about this, around their issues around leadership above them or their own, is that I didn't get what I needed. I either didn't get the right mentorship or the right courses or the right understanding or the right learning or the right experience. Or that the people who did teach them were as bad as they are or worse. Right? So it's not about the people themselves. It's about the way we're looking at teaching people or not teaching people how to lead. And people say, well, leaders are born, not made. Baloney. That's baloney. Some people are naturally good at gathering people together and bringing people together. That's true, but that doesn't mean they have the skill sets. And that doesn't mean they know how to use what they have. Leadership is a discipline. It can be taught and it can be learned. Think about it this way. Would you ever, in your lifetime, ask a surgeon to operate on you without the proper credentials, the proper experience, a reputation that you could trust? Would you ever do that? No, you wouldn't. Not unless you were unconscious and had no choice. And yet, what do? We allow leaders to operate inside people's lives and inside our organizations with none of the above. Did you know, you probably don't know this, so I'll share it with you. Did you know that you can graduate from Cornell University? My alma mater, I'm very proud of it. It's a great university. You cannot graduate without passing a swim test. True. Because that's a lifelong skill, right? Lifelong skill. I can understand that. Yet you can graduate from Cornell University and probably any university in the country, the world, without ever having had one leadership course. But you can graduate, go out and work in a large organization or a small organization, any organization. And within a very short period of time, for whatever reason, you're tapped, anointed, appointed, promoted into a leadership role with no skills, no experience. And we wonder why all those logos on the front slide have happened. And it's more than we can fathom. And we're just throwing up our hands and going, just a bunch of creeps. Well, there's some creeps in there. I'll agree. Definitely some greedy, nasty, awful people that manage to get up the leadership ranks without being called out because we don't take this discipline seriously. We don't even think of it as a discipline. We think of it as an afterthought. Not good enough for the best of us. Right? It's just not good enough. I think we need a revolution. And I think time's running out. I don't think we can continue to fail like this. I think our breakthrough thinking around leadership has to happen. We need to create the leadership that we deserve. And when we are leaders, we need to provide the leadership our people need. And we have to take this seriously and take the responsibility seriously as if we were brain surgeons, because that's what we're doing to our organizations. And a lot of the leaders who are failing today don't know what to do about it. I'd be out of business if they did, I guarantee you. And I want to be out of business. I want them to know how to lead. That's my passion. That's what it's all about. My scarf is falling off. Sorry. So I'm going to ask you this. I believe that you and I, each of us and all of us, will likely have an opportunity to lead somebody in our lifetime. I think that's true. Whether you're a parent, a teacher, a coach, a boss, or more. Whether you're president of the United States. All of us will have an opportunity to lead other people. So my call to action is this, and I am asking you to think seriously about this, for yourself and for those around you, to lead like it matters, because it does. Because it does. Pay attention to your ripple effect. Thank you.